So, you've got TradingView, you and millions of other traders. But let's be real for a second. Just having the best tools doesn't mean you're going to make a profit, right? The real edge, the thing that separates the pros from everyone else, comes from building a complete automated strategy. Today, we're going to break down exactly how you can go from just staring at charts to executing with robotic precision.
Does this look a little too familiar? You have this incredibly powerful software at your fingertips, but the results in your account, well, they just aren't matching up. This is a super common frustration, and here's the secret. It's almost never about the tool. It's about not having a system. And that's the exact gap we're going to close right now.
And look, you are in the right place. You're part of a massive global community of over 50 million traders. So what is it? What separates the top 1% in that huge community? Well, they're not just using TradingView to draw lines on charts. They're leveraging its entire ecosystem to build, test, and automate their trading. And the key that unlocks all of this is something called Pineify. Think of it as the brain for your entire TradingView setup. It's a language built for one thing and one thing only, defining your trading rules. Now, I know what you're thinking, coding, but hang on. It was designed to be super logical and readable, which makes it way more approachable than you'd think, even if you've never written a line of code in your life.
All right, here's our game plan. First, we're going to pick a strategy framework. Then, we'll build a high-accuracy system right on top of it. After that, and this is crucial, we'll cover how to test it like a pro. And finally, we'll talk about how to automate the whole thing to protect your capital. Let's get into it.
Okay, first things first. Before we even think about touching an indicator, we need to pick our core philosophy. Are you a trend follower, somebody who likes to ride the big waves, or do you prefer betting on a price snapping back to normal? Or maybe, just maybe, you're looking to catch those explosive breakouts. This single choice is going to guide every other decision we make from here on out.
First up, we've got trend following. The whole idea here is simple. The trend is your friend. We use tools like exponential moving averages, or EMAs, and the MACD to figure out which way the market is moving, and then we just jump on for the ride. It's kind of like surfing. You're not trying to create the wave, you're just trying to catch it and stay on as long as possible.
Next is mean reversion, which is basically the total opposite. This strategy works on the idea that price acts like a giant rubber band. When it gets stretched way too far in one direction, it has a tendency to snap back toward the middle. So, we use indicators like the RSI to spot when things are way overbought or oversold, and we bet on that snapback.
And finally, you've got breakout strategies. These are for the action junkies out there. You know how the market sometimes goes quiet and trades in a really tight range? Well, it's building up pressure, like a coiled spring. A breakout strategy is all about being there at the exact moment that spring is released, so you can capture that massive, sudden, explosive move.
Okay, so we've got our frameworks. Now for the really fun part. Let's actually build a specific, battle-tested system that combines multiple indicators. See, the goal here isn't to rely on just one signal. It's to get confirmation from a whole team of indicators, which, as you can imagine, seriously boosts our accuracy. And here is our 4-indicator dream team. First, the EMAs. They're like the team captain, telling us the overall trend. Are we in a bull market or a bear market? Then the MACD comes in to confirm the momentum. Is this trend strong or is it running out of gas? The RSI acts as our goalie, right? It stops us from buying at the very top or selling at the very bottom. And finally, volume validates the entire play. Is there real money and conviction behind this move? They all have to work together.
A potential signal is not enough. We need total confirmation. A buy signal only, and I mean only, triggers when all 4 of these conditions line up perfectly. This isn't about one indicator flashing green. It's about the entire system giving us a thumbs up. This strict checklist is how we filter out all that market noise and avoid those frustrating false signals.
Look, knowing when to get in is only half the battle. Knowing when to get out is just as important, if not more so. Our exit is also completely rule-based. We are not waiting for a gut feeling. We get out when the data tells us to, when the trend is failing, when momentum is flipping, and when selling pressure is coming in. It's a systematic exit, totally free from emotion.
So we have our strategy defined. It looks great on paper. But an idea, no matter how good it sounds, is completely worthless until it's been proven. This next step is what separates the hopeful amateurs from the data-driven pros. Backtesting. You never, ever trade something you haven't put through the ringer first. This is the professional's workflow, and you'll notice it's a cycle. You start by coding the rules in Pinescript, then you run it through TradingView Strategy Tester, and you analyze the results. From there, you can tweak and optimize. But that final step is key, forward simulation or paper trading, to see how it performs on new live data. It's a constant loop: test, refine, repeat.
And when you're testing, these are the vital signs you need to be looking at. Profit factor. That's basically asking, for every dollar you risk, how many do you make back? Anything over 1.5 is really solid. Max drawdown. That's the biggest hit your account takes. You've got to keep that under 20% to stay in the game. Win rate is nice, but make sure you have enough trades, like over 100, so you know the results aren't just a fluke. These numbers tell the real story of your strategy.
Okay, I want to pause here for a second, because this is, without a doubt, the single most important rule of backtesting. Think about it. Backtesting is like driving your car while only looking in the rear-view mirror. It shows you exactly where you've been, with perfect clarity, but it absolutely does not guarantee what's around the next corner. Use it as your guide, but never mistake it for a crystal ball.
All right, let's move into our final section and bring this all home. You've built a strategy. You've tested it. Now it's time to master your execution by removing the single weakest link in any trading system, which is, you guessed it, human emotion. This is where we automate the process and lock in our risk rules for good.
I mean, this slide says it all, doesn't it? On the left, you've got manual trading, which is totally vulnerable to fear, greed, second-guessing, and just plain getting tired. And on the right, you have automation, cold, calculating, robotic precision. It runs 24/7, it never misses a signal, and it enforces the rules with perfect discipline every single time. Now, if the thought of coding is what's holding you back from all this, you should know that the game has totally changed. There are now AI-powered tools that can generate all the Pinescript code for you just from a plain English description of your strategy. This means you get to focus on the fun part, the strategy logic, and let a tool handle the code, taking you from idea to a fully automated system in a fraction of the time.
But listen to me on this. Automation is only as good as the risk rules you build into it. These rules right here, they are non-negotiable. Your strategy's edge only works over the long run if you protect your capital today. Things like risking just 1 or 2% per trade and always using a stop loss, these aren't suggestions. They're the bedrock of survival and success. So we have covered a ton of ground, but it all comes down to this simple 5-step blueprint. Open up TradingView and apply the indicators we talked about. Then, backtest the strategy until you can't backtest it anymore. Once you've got a system you trust, use a tool to code and automate it. Then you just configure your alerts and track your live performance. This is your plan. It's that straightforward.
So that's it. The entire framework is laid out for you. The tools are more powerful and accessible than they have ever been, and the process is crystal clear. You now have the complete blueprint to go out and build a systematic, professional-grade trading operation. The only question left is, what are you going to build?